What is Apex Legends, and should you let your kids play it? This video is going to be really similar to my last one on Fortnite from several months back. Now, I can't actually answer the question of whether your kids should be allowed to play this game because that's your call to make. You're the parent. I'm simply making this video to try to help you make that decision. I personally am a video gamer. It's my favorite hobby when I have some alone time or when I want to goof off with my friends. Not all of you as parents are video gamers. I always recommend trying out anything yourself before you give it to your kids. You should, watch movies and TV shows or at least look up reviews before you let them watch it. Even if you give your kids food, you should probably check it first to make sure it's not too hot and you're going to burn their mouth. And it's similar to that here. But if you don't want to do that or if you don't know what to look for, I want to showcase some things about this game that you might want to know before you choose to let your kids play it. Because make no mistake, this game is popular. Even if you don't own a game system at home and you have no way of checking it out for yourself, your kids are probably still going to be asked to play it or have chances to play it when they go to a friend's house. So first things first, if you're still wondering, why should you care about this video game or about this very video that you're watching? That's an easy question to answer. Apex Legends is the new Fortnite. If your kids play video games, or they have friends who play video games, or your family doesn't live under a rock, then you have at least heard the name Fortnite. And that should explain why this video is important. I'm not saying that this is going to replace Fortnite. I'm not even saying that it will be as popular as Fortnite long term. But this is a game that a lot of kids are talking about right now and a lot of kids are playing, so you should probably be aware of what it is and whether or not you want to let your kids play. Question number 2, what is it? Apex Legends is a free-to-play, team-based video game. The game begins with 60 people divided into 20 teams of 3. Teams work together to be the last team alive at the end of the game. You do this by communicating with each other, moving carefully through the world, and most importantly, shooting other players before they shoot you. Now, there are going to be some matches of Apex Legends where you have long stretches of just nothing. If your kid's playing it, there's going to be times that they're just running around, picking up stray items, and not doing much. But there will be other times that they play this game where there's going to be shooting from start to finish. This type of game is called a battle royale. It's the most popular type of video game right now, and it's essentially the same type of game as Fortnite, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, and Call of Duty Blackout. Question number 3, what do I need to know as a parent about this video game? We're going to divide this up into topics because everybody is passionate about different things when it comes to this question. So let's take this topically. First things first, other players. This game, as of the time of me recording this video, cannot be played alone. This is a multiplayer-only game with no offline modes and no single player. If you don't have internet, you can't play this game. But more specifically, this is a team-based game where you're paired up with 2 other people. Now, again, this could change, but as of right now, you can't play by yourself. If you don't like your kids interacting with other people online, this game is absolutely not for you. As in all online games, you can't control the names that other people choose for themselves. You can hear real people talking into their microphones, even if you don't have a microphone or headset yourself. I think a lot of parents don't realize that this is the case. Almost every single game that has multiplayer allows people to talk with a microphone, and you do not have to have a headset, and you do not have to have a microphone to hear those people talking. So that's just a quick news flash for you. If your kids play Call of Duty, if they play GTA Online, if whatever it is they're playing, even Fortnite, you can hear other people talking even if you don't have your own microphone or headset. It's the same thing here in Apex Legends. Now, you can mute other people. And actually, at the start of my match in this video, you can see me muting another player because the very first word out of his mouth was the F word in this video. So I edited that out because I don't want that to be in my video, and I muted him as a player. But be aware, that's not the setting by default. They're not going to automatically be muted. However, one thing that makes Apex really cool in this realm, in this area, is that they have a system called ping. This allows you to push a button, and then it points out items, enemies, or places you want to go to other people. You don't have to use a microphone. You don't have to type words on a keyboard. There's no profanity or anything with this system. So, if you should choose to mute all the other players in every match, and not allow your child to use a microphone, they would still be able to strategize with their team and they will not be at any disadvantage. If you don't want them to use a microphone, don't let them use that as an excuse because it's not true. They're not going to be at some kind of disadvantage and their friends aren't going to hate them for not using a headset. But again, be aware, you're going to have to mute other players at the start of every match. That's not done by default. Speaking of foul language, in my time playing this game and from reading other players' comments, there appears to be no foul language in the game at all. But again, that does not account for real people talking with microphones. Just in the game, the pre-recorded voices and stuff, there's no foul language. Violence is the core mechanic of Apex Legends. You have to use guns to survive, just like in Fortnite. Now, I said in that video, in the Fortnite video, that it's technically plausible that you could survive to the end without ever firing a bullet. But just like in that game, this is nearly impossible, and the game actively encourages you to use guns. Plus, your teammates will always be using guns, people will always be shooting at you, and your teammates are going to be using that system to encourage you to use guns by saying, hey, there's a nice gun over here, hey, here's some ammo. It's going to be constant. So it's almost impossible to avoid any form of shooting. In fact, I would say it's impossible to avoid all forms of shooting in this game because it's a core thing. There is a little bit of blood in the game, but it's not very graphic. It's not going to look like Mortal Kombat or something like that, just so you know. Drugs, alcohol, sex, nudity. There aren't any of these things in the game. I'm lumping them all together. There's no drug use, there's no alcohol, there's no sex, and there's no nudity. There is one small thing I'm going to point out, and this probably is going to sound pretty silly to most of you, but if you have younger kids who could be watching or playing this game, it may be worth pointing out. When your character gets injured, they heal themselves by injecting medicine into their arm, and you get a pretty up-close view of them injecting this. Again, it's not graphic, it's not gory or anything, but if a younger child is watching, it may be a good idea to remind them that we never stab ourselves with something or inject ourselves with anything without a doctor or a parent present. I know, again, that's a silly detail, but I'm just trying to be thorough, just so you know. The next question is money. This game is free to play, meaning that you can download the game and you can play as much as you want, as long as you want, and not be at any disadvantage without spending money. However, as a parent, you should be aware that there are plenty of ways in the game that you can spend money. Again, it doesn't give you an advantage to do that. Don't let your kids convince you that they're underpowered and losing because they haven't spent money. But you should be aware that your kid does have the ability to buy things within the game using real money. I don't know if this next question really matters or is important to you, but I do want to throw in here the question of whether it's a good game, meaning just is it fun? Is it a high quality game? Is it worth even playing? Because one of the things that your kids may say is, this is great. And sometimes it's easy to counter, well, it's not as good as Fortnite. Why would you even want to play it? In reality, this game's great. I gotta admit, I personally really like this game. It's a lot of fun, and it's getting really good reviews from basically everybody. If your kid reads video game websites or anything like that, they're gonna see a lot of good reviews for this, and their friends are probably gonna want to play it because it is a lot of fun. So I want to throw that out. And it's different from Fortnite. It's different enough that, to me, to be honest, I've fallen off of Fortnite. I don't play as much as I used to. But if I was still into Fortnite, I could absolutely see playing both of these games equally. So I don't really think the argument of you don't need this because you already have Fortnite, I don't think that holds a lot of water, especially because this game is free. So be aware as a parent, if this even matters to you, yeah, it is a high quality game. It is a fun game, and that's part of why your kids are going to want to play it. It's good. Then the big question, how does it compare to Fortnite? This is probably the biggest question of the day because odds are pretty good, given its popularity, that you've already made a decision about Fortnite. Either you let your kids play it or you don't. So how does this game compare to that one? For context's sake, you should know that Fortnite's number one competitor for a long time was called PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, or PUBG. You may have already heard of that game. It's still really popular, but especially at the launch of Fortnite, when Fortnite was becoming big, those were really the only two big battle royale games. PUBG is a much more serious game with a higher level of realism, and it's catered more to adults. The whole goal of that game was built around being better at killing and surviving than everybody else. Fortnite, on the other hand, took the same sort of game mode, but it changed it up a lot. It has cartoony graphics, it features colorful costumes, there are goofy challenges to do, there's dancing, there's driving golf carts. Plus, in order to get good at Fortnite, you have to focus equally on building stuff as well as shooting. If you want to get good at PUBG, mostly you just focus on the shooting, the combat stuff, and on positioning. Fortnite has that too, but it was equally focused on building stuff and just on goofing around and having fun. In fact, now Fortnite has a mode that's all about building stuff, kind of similar to Minecraft. It's added sound pads where you can create your own music. And believe it or not, I know this is going to sound crazy, but this is a real thing. Kids are logging onto Fortnite just to hang out with their friends because everybody plays it. A lot of kids don't even care about winning or about shooting a bunch of people. They just want to have fun hanging out online with their friends. If I had to compare the two games, Apex Legends clearly has more in common with PUBG. The graphics are much more realistic than Fortnite. There's no building mechanics, so really shooting is the clear focus in Apex. If you want to get better at Apex, you get better at shooting. There aren't a bunch of unlockable dances. There are no challenges to, get a hole-in-one on a driving range or collect a fallen star. When you log into Apex, your goal is going to be to win, and you win by shooting people. Now, the violence in this game is nothing compared to a lot of games out there right now. Like I mentioned, it's not like Mortal Kombat. It's not even like Grand Theft Auto, but it does feel decidedly more realistic and intense than Fortnite. But you can see all that stuff in this video, so make that choice for yourself. Again, I'm not here projecting judgment. I'm just trying to give the most thorough description of this game that I can. So if your kids are allowed to play it, you know why, and you can be comfortable in that decision. And if you don't allow them to play it, then you can kind of use some of these things to help explain to your kid why you don't want them to. Totally up to you. So these are my main thoughts, and I think it gives you a pretty good idea of what this game is like overall. I'm going to stop talking now. You can feel free to watch the rest of this match that I'm in if you'd like. I'm going to show the entire match from start to stop in this so you can see what a normal game looks like. I'm not editing out the long stretches of just running around because that's part of the game. Realistically, your kid is going to shoot a 10th as many bullets while playing Apex Legends as they would while they were playing something like Call of Duty. And I want to show that off. But again, you can feel free to watch the whole thing if you'd like. There's a little bit more shooting toward the end as well. And this gives you an idea of what this game is like. If you found this helpful, please like it and share it and just let me know. I'm not asking that to be greedy. I'm asking that because that will tell me that you found it helpful. And if another game or another movie or something becomes a big deal in the future, maybe I'll make another one of these videos if you found it helpful. But if not, I won't waste my time doing it. So that is all. Hope you guys have an awesome day, and thanks for watching.
Let's explore this way.
Care package being delivered. Care package incoming. Let's get to the exit. Store's over there.
Reloading. I downed the hostage. Taking a moment to heal.
Reloading. Got me. I'm down. Enemy spotted. Getting shot.
I have fallen.
Round 3. Beginning ring countdown.
Let us go this way.
Thank you. You made me just a little bit better.